Hey everybody, my name is Ryan Turek. I'm one of the co-producers, but I also work at Blumhouse, and I'm the co-host of the Shockwaves podcast. One question I have for everybody out there, raise your hand. Who's seeing Happy Death Day for the first time? The first one. This is
What took me so long?
Well, you guys are in for a treat because Happy Death Day to You is a marvelous, marvelous film. And I think that you are benefiting from seeing the first one so close to the second one. Now I have the dubious honor of doing a Q&A for a film that you guys haven't seen yet, so we'll have to start with the first one. Now Chris, I'm curious, I remember way back in the day getting an email. It was like Jason and myself, and you sent us an email with a script attached, and you said, I think this is my next thing. Can you please read it? And I was like, absolutely. And it was called Half to Death. That was the original script. When, and I know that it had been around town for a little bit, but when did it come to you? When did it land in your hands?
That's slightly revisionist history.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah, because I think the email was, I have this script and no one will hire me right now. Will you please make this movie? I think there was some begging in the email.
No begging, no begging. But what, I mean, like you had come off of Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse.
Hence no one would hire me, but thank you.
No, that movie's fantastic. But you wanted to kind of ease into, what was Half to Death, more horror than comedy, or did it strike the kind of same balance that this film ultimately had?
It's the same. It was almost, I did very little rewriting while we were in pre-production on this. So it basically stayed the same.
Right.
It's also, you had done revisions years before on the script, right?
And in your own horror taste, did they always lean more towards the horror comedy? Or you and I have been in endless horror conversations, but I mean, for you, what are your personal tastes?
I mean, I love all horror. I mean, I was raised on it, and I know you and I have talked about it, but I came from one of those classic divorced homes, and my dad just wanted to be the cool guy, so he let me rent stuff that I shouldn't watch. It started when I was like 6 years old, and I was like going home with like I Dismember Mama and all kinds of classics.
Yeah.
And so I was watching like five a weekend. But I've always loved horror comedy. I mean, I've always thought that they are. I mean, like old school Raimi, and so just stuff that I think is awesome. So it's kind of nice to get to do it. But an older version of Happy Death Day back then, Half to Death, it was gory. I had worked on a gory version, but it actually kind of worked against a lot of the stuff that we were trying to do in the movie, because there's like sort of romance, and it just kind of felt like it wasn't quite gelling the right way.
Jess, when you were 6, were you seeing I Dismember Mama and Deadly Spawn and films like that?
No, I was watching Sound of Music. I am very new to the horror genre. I like watching horror movies a lot, but I curl up in a fetal position and watch things through my eyes. When we were doing reshoots for the second film, Halloween came out, and we wanted to support our Blumhouse family, so Chris made me go, and I sat there just like having seizures the whole time because like I freak out so much. But horror movies are amazing.
Speaking to the kind of gore, I remember, in spite of you keeping it gore light, you still had some MPAA issues.
Yeah, but they were weird issues.
Yeah.
Like they got mad. They made me cut. There was a line in the movie where I think it was Danielle said like something about like I hope you didn't get chlamydia. Yeah. In a very Danielle way. And they were really upset about the word chlamydia. They were like, you can't say that. I'm like,
dare they teach?
We were talking about like safer sex.
Yeah,
in the scene.
but they let you blow me up in a car. So
Jessica, talk about your first impressions reading the script before coming on board.
I just fell in love with it right away. I mean, I think that Tree is such an incredible character, and the arc that she has in this film and in the sequel, are arcs that aren't written for women in Hollywood, especially in genre. Not only does she get to start out as this really despicable human being, which is so much fun to play, but she transforms into this total badass. And I also just loved how emotional it got and how funny it was. Like, that was the biggest thing when I read the first film. I was like, oh, this is really, really funny. And the moment I knew I wanted to do the movie is the montage when it comes along. I think it was like, cue a fun pop song, and like, here's Tree's death montage. I was like, I mean, I don't care what else is here, but I was actually in Atlanta shooting another film, so I had to put myself on tape. And so no one could help me, so I was like using a computer and an iPad and like talking to no one. And I'm just lucky that Chris somehow saw past all of those things, and then I got to have this opportunity.
Was it hard compartmentalizing all of the emotions that you have to run through? Because I remember like day one, it was the scene with the dad.
Very first scene up.
Yeah.
I hated our line producer for that. But I mean, it ended up being really, it was really wonderful. The way everything worked out was perfect, because I think that all of the things I would have liked to like get my hands on and really manipulate were the things that actually benefited from being the most organic and kind of not having time to overthink them, because I'm a big overthinker. But the funny thing is, there are a lot of emotions, but people have a lot of emotions, and going from point A to point B to point Z, that's just part of being a person. And I felt, again, so lucky that I got to play a character that really ran the gamut, because I love doing that and don't always get to do that.
Favorite death?
In the first one? All right, I know what my one in the second one is. I think in the first one, I love watching the tackle into the fountain, because it was just so funny. And my amazing stunt double Kelly did that, and it was like, I don't know how, the fountain was like the size of the three of us together. I don't know how they did that, and it was incredible. And I also really love the baseball bat one, though that one I did not like shooting. But no, all of the deaths were really fun, because they hit me in the head with a baseball bat. Not a real one, not a real one. But the thing that's so fun about making these films is Chris's brain is just so funny and wonderful and twisted that it was so fun to bring all of these deaths to life with as much humor. With as much humor and as much color and poppiness as we were able to do in this film.
One of the things through the process of post-production that I especially loved watching was we were just falling in love with your character and your arc. And I remember during one of the first previews, can you talk a little bit about how this film originally ended, which is available on the Blu-ray, but it was kind of a reaction to the audience when they first saw that.
So we had the original ending of the movie that we shot. Tree survives the fight and then wakes up in a hospital, and her dad's there and Carter's there, and everything seems great, and she's made it to the next day. And so I feel like the movie's over, and then doctor kind of rushes everybody out and says she needs a rest, and then this nurse comes in and starts to put something into Tree's IV line, and Tree says, oh, no, you're not supposed to be doing that. And then the nurse pulls her mask down and reveals that it's Gregory's wife. And she's basically like, fuck you. And then she kills her. And it was supposed to be like an ironic death, like, oh no, not again. But when we tested it, people were like, fuck you, we like her. Like, why are you killing her? So I had already written the ending that we have. I had written this ending years before we made it. And so I just had it sitting in a file just in case. And
I thought you wrote it over breakfast the next morning.
No.
Like, because we woke up the next morning.
I know everybody was like,
Chris,
you're a genius, you wrote it so fast.
That's literally what we were talking about.
Still dumb.
You were a genius for planning ahead.
Yes.
So yeah, we discovered that audiences really fell in love with her character and really wanted her to stick around, and I'm glad they did, because it really would have had a huge impact on the second movie. There would be no second movie.
I just wouldn't be there.
Well, that's the thing. I talked to a lot of like those kind of hardcore horror fans, you know. This is good, and they go, "Oh, I wish it was more gory." But you know, I really like Tree, and Tree is, you know, it's a kind of, you're not necessarily like a final girl. You're just like a new horror heroine. Like you've survived so many deaths.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, Chris, you turned around the script for Happy Death Day to You remarkably quick too. Did you have that sitting in a file?
It was
that we didn't know
filed
about?
away. No. I wrote that fast.
You wrote it really, really fast.
Yeah. Well, at what point did you realize that 2 was going to have to come along, and when did you have that talk with Blum?
It wasn't a decision that was based on, because I pitched the idea for the sequel to Jason when I was in the editing room, and it was purely out of excitement. Like, I just said this would be really cool if we had the chance to do this. And mind you, the movie had not come out yet, and so we didn't know if there was ever going to be a reason for a sequel in the sense of, like, you know, if the movie did well. But it was genuinely born out of an idea that I thought was a really cool and completely unexpected direction that we could take the movie in.
You guys' minds are about to be blown. I hope, maybe not.
I think so. Yeah.
I mean,
Were you ready? I mean, what?
was it ready?
Yeah, were you ready for 2?
So Chris called me about a month before the first one came out and was like, I have a crazy idea. And he told me about it, and it was insane, but brilliant. And I said to him, well, you're the only person I know who can pull this off. And I'm so, so glad that we did it. I think it's such a perfect companion piece for the first film. I feel like we got to know Tree so much better and explore so many other sides of her. We got to bring in some fun other elements and some fun new characters, and all, but like truly, if anyone but Chris had been set up to direct it, I don't think I would have done it.
You guys you really are seeing this the best possible way. Like there's so many things that will be lost on people when they see the new one, just because of the distance between the first movie and this one in their minds. But like, you're gonna catch a lot more than they did.
Can you just talk about a little bit about the tone of this one? Because I feel like, you know, the first one's like Groundhog Day, Friday the 13th, a little whodunit. This one, I feel, it's got like a little cool, weird science vibe.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of a shift in this one. One of the things that I promised myself when we were setting out to make the second one was I was not going to make the same movie twice. There's a joke in there, but I mean it. Like, I didn't think that anybody had the threshold or the patience or tolerance to go through like a full-blown time movie again in the same way. And so there's I definitely owe some to Weird Science. I definitely owe some to Back to the Future 2. So there's some new stuff going on in this movie, but we wanted to stay true to the things that I think people really liked about the first movie, but not get stuck repeating ourselves.
Well, we've got a fun little surprise. We're gonna launch into number 2 by singing Happy Death Day to You in the key of Happy Birthday. So I want you all to join us. And I think we're supposed to bring out Babyface or Grant or someone.
Oh, Babyface.
Oh, Babyface. All right, everybody join us, please. Happy Death Day. Tree. Well done, everybody. Thank you. All right, let's do this. Happy Death Day to you. We want to do a photo op. Everybody got your masks?
Wait, one more thing.
Wait.
I forgot.